Hey everyone, welcome back to the Minds of Mortgage podcast. This is Kelly Yale, and I am joined today by Ashley McKenzie Sharpe. Ashley started in the mortgage industry back in 2002, even though I know, doesn't look like she's been in it that long. Looks like she's been in it for about 2 years. But she is a branch manager with Highlands Mortgage and one of the country's top loan officers. In fact, in 2021, she closed almost $300 million. And she is one of two loan officers on a team who did that. So it's absolutely incredible what she's able to do. And even in 2024, she is still closing more loans per month than most people closed in all of 2023. She's an amazing guest to be able to have, and I'm certainly proud to call her one of my closest friends. Ashley, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So obviously you and I go back a long way. We go back about 10 years at this point, and we've been lucky enough to work together. I've been able to help you and to watch your business flourish. One of the big partnerships that you've had has been with Members Credit Union, and that's been a big part of your business strategy. Walk me through why that relationship has been so instrumental to your business.
I started that relationship when early in my career, I had only been a loan officer for less than 12 months. And I had this big relationship. At the time, there were other loan officers in the Members Credit Union. And it really allowed me to just immerse myself immediately into all of the different loan programs, really just dig in, answer the phone and start going, right? I mean, because when you're new, you don't know what you don't know. And so once you really, start taking those phone calls and answering the questions and really digging in and trying to find the answers, you learn and grow so fast. So, I mean, I think that they really helped me, expound my mind and my knowledge of mortgage. And then they've also just helped me with my capture rate as far as, exposing me to all of these different partners and real estate agents and things like that. So I think overall, it's just been a huge blessing.
You're located in Winston-Salem, which some people may not know where that is. It's 45 minutes north of Charlotte, northeast of Charlotte?
Northeast. Piedmont Triad area, the home
right.
of the... It's Camel City, the home of the cigarettes.
Home of the cigarettes. But it's a small, it's a small area. I mean, that's coming from me.
It is relatively. Yeah, it's a small area. And I think a lot of people are really surprised that we've had so much success on my team, really focusing on just this little pocket in, the Triad.
I've, of course, been on record for a really long time trying to push you into breaking into sort of the Charlotte market. And I know you're licensed in so many places. Selfishly, I want you just to move to Charlotte. But it's incredible when you look at your numbers, right? And then think about actually how you're well saturated in the Triad. But I mean, those are huge numbers. Your average loan amount is how much do you think off the top of your head?
I mean, it's increased over the last couple of years, but probably somewhere 250 to 320, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, because I think when people see numbers like 300 million, right, they don't understand that you're crushing units. It's not just, you're not in the Orange County, right? You are literally like on the phone with the people doing the work.
We are closing down. I mean, we have to shut down at least 40, 50 units a month. Back in the heyday, we got up to 140, 150 units in a month with 2 loan officers and a small support staff. So my team really knows how to run hard and dig in and make things happen. But yeah, I mean, the smaller loans are just kind of became my heart. I can't give them up. I really like to help people, and that's really my passion. And so when I get those phone calls, it really doesn't matter the loan size. It's always a yes, let's try.
That's so interesting that you bring that up, right? Because your heart to serve and to never, you don't ever say that's not worth it or this lead isn't going to be enough or anything like that. You, for my entire friendship with you, you've taken every single call, even when I've been encouraging you not to. Your heart is to serve. Why is that so important?
I think it's just ingrained in my character. I come from a family who is, has a servant's heart. And my mother is a teacher. My father was a preacher. So I've got teaching on both sides. And I think that when you have the opportunity to really help someone, they call you and they can't get the answers from anyone else. I feel like I'm like their lifeline. And I really I don't want to drop the ball on that person and say, look, I'm just going to pass the buck to the next person you call. I feel like I should take ownership of that. And I know that my team has the ability to really dig in and help on those tougher deals, those smaller deals. We know how to get those closed. And so I've always had that as part of my passion.
Yeah, it's so true. Well, so speaking of your family, I think that there are so few people who understand what a truly family affair your small team is. Talk about what it's like to build a team with your identical twin, and you also have your other sister working on your team. What is that like to work with your family?
It is a challenge and it is a gift, all wrapped into one. Because you get, just the same, convictions and, work ethic that my parents instilled in myself. They obviously instilled in my sisters as well. And so Jennifer and Karen are a huge asset to our team. One thing, we all kind of sound similar. So when you're handing off the phone, I think people are like, I'm not sure who I'm talking to. So great. So that's a plus. But we all kind of have our different little gift and our strengths. And I think that, being able to just lean in on people and people that are blood that, yeah, we're going to say some things that are going to be a little off sometimes. We're going to get upset with each other. But when you're sisters, it's forgiven, right? Before the night ends, it's forgiven. We'll be back to working together. There's not a day when we're not all in and we're all pulling for each other. And I think that just has been just this magic formula that's pushed the success of our team to the next level.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. It's, when Jennifer, your identical twin, got licensed, I remember that being our first conversation. Is you were like, if I can just have somebody else talk the way I talk and think the way I think, I can't hire anyone who understands my heart at a fundamental level. And yet here I am with a mirror image of myself being able to say, hey, can you help me build this team?
It's definitely, I've got a little bit of a leg up because of the fact that I've been able to replicate myself. I was gifted with that in the womb. So, having her is just, it's huge. She thinks like I think, and she talks like I talk. And I think that, when people call, they expect to receive the same care, whether I answer the phone or whether, someone on my team answers the phone, and they get that. When my family is all together as a unit.
It's interesting because obviously I've known you for a long time. I've been working with you with marketing, business development, technology for a decade. But people always have the same reaction when they hear how many units you do or how much volume you do, because they always assume you have this massive team and you always have to set them straight. So can you explain, like, really, more or less how many people you work with on a daily basis that are on your team?
So there's myself and one other loan officer, and then we have 2 loan officer assistants, and then 3 processors and a setup gal. So, the team is very lean and mean. But these are all people that, we've had some really tough years, and we've grown a lot together. And I think that, they're my ride or dies. They really have, been put through the ringer, and we're still standing.
Well, and that leads me to kind of an important question that I wanted to ask you, which is, we are in we're in a little bit of not even a little bit, we're at a really difficult stage, right? Over the past 20 years of your career, what do you think has been the most challenging part?
There's been some different things. I mean, obviously, I was around during the 07, 08 crisis when we had foreclosures, and we had to learn how to do the HUD 100 programs and all the fun stuff. But to me, it was a challenge, but it was a puzzle, and it was something new to learn. So it was so much fun. I think, last year was probably one of the more challenging years, just because we went through a lot of change, having been at a company for, 11 years, and then making a couple of jumps to, different lenders, and just bringing my team along in that experience, learning new platforms, new systems, new people. It was tough. So I'd say that was one of the tough years. That, and also, I would say the year that we did the most production, when we closed close to 300 million, it was relentless. We worked nonstop. There was no COVID for us because my team worked from sun up till sundown, nights, weekends. There were not vacations. We just dug in and went hard. And that was, looking back now, it was one of those years where it was almost like blackout, right? I felt like I wasn't living, I was just working. And so it's been one of those things where over the years since that, now I'm starting to learn, like, what is balance, right? Let's find that. I'm getting better.
Yes,
I'm not an ace at it or pro in any way, shape, or form, but I'm getting
you
better.
did better in 2024 than I've ever seen you. So I'll give you absolute props there of having a good work-life balance. I've seen you a lot this year, but you make an absolutely perfect point about 2021. Like, for people who are very much a part of each other's lives, you were off the map in 21. We were lucky if we talked once a month.
Yeah.
I
was married to mortgage. It was tough.
It's true. But we make sacrifices in this industry. Everybody makes different kinds of sacrifices. And, a lot of good and bad things kind of come from that. Work-life balance isn't easy when you have realtors sending you text messages at 10:30 at night. It's not always the work-life balance that we're looking for. But, when you think back of the last 20 years, what do you think has been the best part? You can say me. It's fine. Just say Kelly.
It was you.
Appreciate you.
It was meeting you. And I think that is one of the huge blessings, is that all of the people that I've met and I've been able to work with, that's been huge, because they are my people, now. You're my tribe. And so I think that's been a huge highlight. Working with the different people and clients and agents and developing those relationships and friendships has been really, really fun. And, just growing the business. That definitely has been a fun part. It's just been challenging because, there's not a book on how to do this. Maybe there is now. You may have written that book. I know you've written a few. But you don't know what you're getting into. It's not like you wake up in the morning and you're like, I want to be a mortgage lender. This just kind of happened, and you just get immersed in it and you go. And so I think that it's been a ride, but it's been a ride that's been a huge, huge blessing. I love it.
You make such an interesting point, right? And that is the the duality of roles in your life. I have the same thing that you have where, you know, I'm surrounded by the people who I met in mortgage. That is the last 10 years have defined my tribe, my my partner. I mean, everything that there is, but we also have to be really cognizant of the fact that, here's your sisters, they work for you. Well, their primary role is still your sister. But then the secondary role is they're your business partners. I look around with my life, it's the same kind of thing. And navigate, in fact, you and I are the same,
Yeah.
right? So here we are. On the one hand, you're one of my best friends in the world. On the other hand, I work with you. And we have to find that balance all the time because it's not always going to be an easy thing to work with people that you love.
Yes. And be willing to forgive or say, I'm sorry,
Right.
or make the time for the fun stuff, for the relationship stuff. Right. I mean, I've had my challenges with that. And so I'm thankful that I have had such good friends like you and my sisters who have been patient and allowed me to make mistakes and grow. And here we are, 2024. Come on.
Right. And I feel so much like we've been white knuckling as an industry since COVID, right? It was like, okay, well, here's COVID. Now, what are we going to do? Now, here's this massive refi boom. What if we just never slept again and we just worked 24/7? And then we come out of that and it's this great unknown,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't, a lot of people right now are struggling to even get 2-3 loans through the door, but you guys are churning at a pretty high rate still. And I would probably attribute most of that to the kinds of relationships that you have created with those agents that are in the triad. What are the things that you do to create, build, maintain those relationships, and why is that so important?
Since the inception of me getting into mortgage, I just love the realtor partners that I get to work with, right? So, you can choose the people you work with in this industry to an extent. And so I have just made the best friends of my agent partners. And so we have really deep friendships. I mean, I always tell people, I'm like, I am either going gardening with one of my agent friends, I'm going to work out with one of my agent friends. I mean, whatever I'm doing, it's usually with one of my bestie agents. And I think that, if you can find those people, then it just makes it easy because those people are rooting for you and you're rooting for them. And so it's just kind of this symbiotic relationship where you feed each other and you take care of each other. And over the years, you grow and you grow stronger together. And I think that I've just been super fortunate to meet the people that I've met and to partner with them and just get to know them at a deep level.
I mean, it's very girl power, right?
Yeah.
It's very girl power in your world. You have only women on your team still?
Yeah.
No.
So,
Okay. And you work with some of the most powerful female agents. And I don't think you do it on purpose, but it's inspiring to me when strong women support other strong women. So I do always admire and love the fact that that's really the backbone of what you do.
it is. And I mean, maybe that has to do with, sister power, right? I mean, I do have a brother, but he's so much younger. And I mean, so I grew up with girls and I just, I think that we always supported each other. And in turn, I've been able to do that throughout my career with other women that I've met. And it is a superpower. It's fantastic to support other women because this is very much so a man's world. We're in banking and lending. I mean, this is not where, blondies show up. So it's definitely been a challenge, but it's been really fun.
I mean, are you saying that we stuck out for many years as a sore thumb in the mortgage industry? I've never seen that for us. Is that really what happened?
Maybe she's looking.
100%. Okay, so let's dive into that a little bit because there's no chance I can talk to you and not mention the fact that I have built 3 systems in my career thus far. Who has been the very first person in each system?
Me.
You. I have lovingly referred to you as my muse, and I'm gonna kind of tell why, but it is what it is. When, when we first did it, right? So that was 2014 so 10 years ago when we first started building Motivator, you were the literal first human being in there. And as I was building that CRM and that digital marketing solution, right, and we were fine tuning it, the thing that I realized really early on is you weren't going to sign into it. And I kept saying, are you going to sign into this? And you're like, I'm busy doing work. Like, I don't need this silly CRM. And I'm like, oh, man. But what people don't understand is much of the brilliance of that system came from that exact thing. If I couldn't count on you to sign in and I could automate your best intentions using data, I technically didn't need you to sign in. And honestly, let's just be honest. How many years did you have Motivator before you signed into it?
Oh gosh. Well, was it? How many was it? 7?
Yeah. Well,
we were riding back from
the Adele concert. Yeah.
And we're in the car, and you have me sign in to the system, and we're trying to like go through and like flush out the system or something, like clean it up, duplicates or something. And I signed in. You had to give me my password.
I did. But yet you grew, let's see, 2014, you were doing 50 million. You grew almost by $50 million a year with that thing behind you.
It was huge. It was a game changer, 100%.
How, so I'll just ask flat out. We have been without a main engine driving data for 2 years now. 2 years where you've just been kind of using a CRM. What have you noticed a difference?
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, for one thing, when I did start signing into the system, I realized how amazing it was. And my team we really started to dig into it. And then, we took it down. So we've missed it dearly. I think that it keeps the team on the same page. It allows you to follow up with people. And again, it just did things that sometimes I wouldn't have even thought to do. I mean, it was constantly telling people, it was communicating with the agents and all the people and just letting people know that, hey, we're still here, even though we were too busy to pick up the phone and make those calls ourselves. So it's just a game changer, having the right system.
I mean, I'll tell anybody, like I'll take the Pepsi challenge in this industry, your database versus any other database, period. Because how heavily curated your database was, and having been, having me sort of at not only building the systems, but to from a business development standpoint, be able to say like, boy, I think we can customize this. I think we can, your agents need this information that's different than what someone else needs. Your database stands. Look, we still have your data. Your database still is in a CRM, but it's not had that same thing. And my approach to technology in general and mortgage has always been every person in that database has the absolute road to a house, 3 houses, 2 refinances, 10 referrals, right? And so what we did with you from day one was we always made that pledge known. I'm here to serve you, if not today, if not in a year, in 5 years. But my goal is to be of service to you when you're ready to buy a home. When we laid all that data in, it changed everything. Right? So that it kept you up on, hey, listen, I just pulled credit for this person. Now they're over here at company X having their credit report. Why did that happen? Like, let me jump on the phone with them and make sure that that deal stays with us. And I love you, and I love you, but you may come to you who aren't going to be ready for several years due to credit or employment or things like that. Being able to have a system that nurtured that so that you were only pinged when the time was correct to reach out to them, huge, right?
Yes, huge. I mean, because when you're trying to run on such a small scale team, you don't have the capacity to reach out to all of the leads that are coming in and do all the follow up that you need to do. But thank heavens you were so far ahead of the game because you were communicating when others weren't. And so agents would see the communication that my team was actually offering, and they would be like, this is incredible. I can't believe you're able to communicate on this level. And I'm like, me either. It's unbelievable. It's Kelly.
I would always love when I'd come to Winston-Salem for an event, like we were talking to the agents, and they're like, oh, I just love her emails, and I'm like, me too. Those are amazing. She's so good, so personal. Listen, when you're it was simple for me with you because you approach things with the same heart that I do, which is like, I'm going to give you way, way, way more than you're expecting. And sometimes it's a lot, but other times, like I want you to know that we never looked at it transactionally. Let's say that there was never an approach from a transactional perspective.
There really wasn't. I mean, it wasn't about the transactions. It was about the people. And I think that when you keep the people at the heart of the business, that sets the tone. And I think that's why people come back and they have their kids use us and their parents. And I mean, it just is, it's a huge thing. And I really hope and encourage people to approach business from that perspective. I think it makes a really winning combination.
On a scale of 1 to like 200 million, how excited are you to use a new system I created?
200 million. I mean, really, I can't wait.
I have never seen you the way I have seen you in the past 10 weeks. I've never seen you sending me messages like, is it done? Is it done? Is it done? Hey, what are you doing over there? Is it done? But I get it, right? Because I see so much opportunity in doing that same concept again, right? And when you have 8-year history of really approaching data a certain way and approaching your database a certain way, and then you have a hiatus, and we are going to have to do a lot of different things when we kind of spin this back up. We have to re-engage in the way that we used to. We have to make sure that the information is correct. I mean, it's going to be a pretty heavy lift. I know you're going to be doing all of that work yourself. So can you walk us through how to do that? But
make a lot of phone calls.
I'm going to take a lot of naps in April. But what I'm excited about is giving you the tools that I know will drive your business, right? And also that I think you're tipping me 10, 20%. 20% is industry standard per month. Yeah,
she's got me on camera for this.
Gonna have a little tip jar, right? I'm gonna have a tip jar on my desk. But I truly am once again building a system that is based on you.
Ashley proof.
I'm just gonna call it Ashley CRM. But I mean, to be fair, there are not a lot of people who I would want as a muse, right? Because that's the thing, is building technology that is right for you trickles down beautifully into what is right for so many, because we want to lead with heart. We want to lead with open-ended conversations. We want to make sure that we celebrate the right things at the right time, and that we don't inundate people with, I always say chicken recipes because it's my favorite thing to say. Can you just imagine if I sent out a newsletter and I was like, hey, it's St. Patrick's Day. Make sure you make your corned beef. People would be like, oh my gosh, what is she even doing?
Right? And knowing I'm not baking these things. So it's coming from me, like making rolls.
This is Ashley's recipe for corned beef.
I don't eat rolls.
I didn't think I was going to call you out on the podcast, but I mean, you do have the most beautiful kitchen
I do.
Maybe I've ever seen that has never even seen a pot of boiling water. Oh,
I
that's
have
too much.
boiled.
You probably have boiled water in there for sure. Made a pizza in the oven. But no, it's not that I mean, it's because you are, and I lovingly say this, you are focused every day, all day on making sure that you are providing this service that you're super passionate about. That I mean, again, with apologies, you are you support your agents in a way that I don't see anyone else in the industry doing, right? You just sent me your list for next week and I'm like, are you like, I love you to pieces, but you spend so much of your life dedicated to this and it's admirable, but you can see it in the way that your partners look at you, right? Cuz they're not asking anybody else to come speak in front of 300 agents. That's all part of the heart of what you do. So don't let me tease you about cooking in your kitchen.
I'm okay with this. It is really
Like, I don't want that's what Uber Eats is for, Kelly.
come on.
Yeah, I totally understand. Well, listen, friend, I am obviously, we have a great rapport because we've been friends for a really long time. We have a tremendous amount of respect for one another. When I started thinking about doing this, one of the things that really came up for me, because I was talking to Ryan, who we both, Ryan Grant, who we both know and love, and we were just talking about like how emotionally taxing all of this is, and this last year and a half, especially for you, it's been a couple of years of sort of riding that coaster. I think we see some light ahead. Do you feel like we're kind of coming out of the dark a little bit?
I think we are. I mean, I think that, the market's starting to level out. People are starting to have a more positive attitude about the market, about the interest rate. So yeah, I think that we're gonna see some light ahead. It's just been a year for really digging in and working hard to grow and to really build systems. And now we get to put all of our efforts out there for everyone to see, and I hope that it will be a fruitful year.
I think it will be. I mean, I think we're still going to have a lot of struggles, but I think you practiced for a really long time making the reward about who you help and not about how much you close, even though you close a lot. But I think that really is a gift, because in times where you don't have, all the units, you're fed and you grow by what you can do for others. And I think that to me is what makes you really special.
Thank you.
You're welcome, friend. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. I think this is awesome. Honestly, I would do one with you every Friday. Do you want to just start like
I think we could.
we always said we needed to have like it's like a specific like Instagram channel of just you and I and all of our shenanigans and a business day.
That would be much more fun than mortgage.
Oh,
That's what we need to talk about.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
I'm not the one pushing for mortgage. Okay. You think I want to build a new mortgage CRM?
No.
No. Anyway, friend,
Look for all of the fans.
I did it for the fans.
I'm a fan.
I love it. All right, friend. Thank you so much for joining us today. And have an amazing, amazing 2024.
You too. Thanks, Gal.